In this video, I'm going to fix some cracks in the loader bucket of my LS tractor. I was getting some cracks just above the blade of the bucket on either side, and obviously there's a stress point there, right where there's reinforcement and then a weld, and the cracks seem to be like following kind of the outside of that weld. So I'm going to go in, grind it out, so I can get some good penetration in there, put a weld in there. Then I'm going to take some stock. I'm going to cut a section and weld it in so that it kind of hopefully kind of is able to spread that load out over a larger area, and then hopefully I won't get any more cracks. But if I do, hopefully I won't see them for another 5 to 7 years, and then I'll have to go in and do some repairs there. Now, I am aware that I look like Steve Zuzu or whatever his name is from Life Aquatic with his red beanie on. My mom gave it to me for Christmas. I will warn you, the first welds that I do are pretty terrible, and I was super embarrassing. But some of the final welds, when I actually weld on the reinforcement bracket, reinforcement piece, look pretty solid. They're much better. So don't go poo-pooing me too much at the beginning, because they're pretty terrible. It's been a year since I welded, so I guess I'm a little rusty, and like I had initially had. I'm not even going to worry about some excuses. They were terrible. That's it. They were just terrible welds. Should have practiced beforehand. So if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you like some of the other, check out some of the other ones. They're pretty random videos on my channel. I do appreciate the support, so thank you. And let's get to it. So here's the bucket. So the crack is right here. It goes to there. It's a little bit easier to see on the inside here. So what I'm going to do is definitely grind this thing down to put a bead across it. I'll probably grind on this side here and put a bead on this side, and then I'm going to put a strip of metal basically connecting here to here. I think that'll help just keep it, the longevity of it. It'll spread this stress across a greater part of the bucket, and then of course the same thing, it's harder to see on this side, is actually happening on this side as well. And it looks like the crack is actually kind of following the weld a little bit here. I think it ends right around here. I'm gonna have to clean this up a little bit just to be sure, but basically I'll have to do the same thing. Oh yeah, it's hard to see maybe, but it ends right over here. So, well, let's start grinding. Ground this crack down. It looks like it ends right about here. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to chase it with basically weld from here all the way back up. Kind of lightly ground the inside as well, just to help me see where the edge of the crack was. And it's right, might be hard to see, but it's right over here. It's hard for me to see. Kind of did the same thing on this side, but here you can get a little bit better idea of how severe this grinding is, because you want it in deep enough we get pretty much full penetration. Now I've heard somebody say, oh, you got to grind all the way through. Well, you don't need to grind all the way through. Theoretically, it should be able to penetrate to a certain amount. So I don't feel that I need to grind all the way down in order to get full penetration. This one I might grind just a touch more, based on what I'm seeing here. And then again, I'm going to be adding a piece, to go here, to help support it. So I basically feel that I'm going to weld it somewhere up here, but also weld it to this reinforcement piece here, and then that way, hopefully, it'll help prevent this from cracking, in the future. And then it looks like, they put this rib in here to help harden it and structural, create a little bit more structure there. And that's probably working if the crack is occurring here. Then also, of course, it's partly because of the weld here that it's cracking there. All right, so I won't lie, my welds are super ugly. In fact, I see some porosity in there. I'm not exactly sure why I got it, but so I ground it off, so maybe I should label myself a grinder, not a welder. But I'll be putting in a bar from here to here. Hopefully my next weld will be much better, especially on the other side. It's been a while since I've welded, and my settings were certainly pretty badly off when I first started running the welds. So now I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Hopefully a little bit better. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a template here. So one thing I can do is push down on this and mark on the back side here. Will help. And then right in here. So I was actually drawing that on the other side, so I'm going to transfer that to here. I kind of got a rough curve here of what needs to be. There's going to be so then what I can do is I'll cut this here and then on the back side, and that should give me a pretty good template, and hopefully it's universal so I can use it for both sides. It's kind of the idea. The template's done for this side. It's pretty rudimentary. Now I'm going to check it to the other side, but if this is good, then I can trace it out and start cutting it on the stock that I'm going to be using. So the distance here, so basically to this embossment, I'm not sure what to call it, and the edge is almost 2 inches exactly. You got a radius here, so you're kind of estimating a little bit. On the other side, this is about a 1/4 inch further inboard that way of the so here, just to give you an idea, so I'm kind of towards the bottom end, but you can see that this is kind of towards right, it's about right. So now looking at the other side, you can see that it might be hard to tell with the shiny part, but it's about a 1/4 inch off. About a 1/4 inch difference. Huh. Strange. Oh well, I can see it's not a high tolerance thing, so they may be eyeballing when they put this thing in over here. That's kind of funny. So I'm going to use my Amico plasma cutter here to cut this thing out. I've already marked it with the pattern. I'm using this the square bar here, square tubing, to help me get a straight cut as best as I can. All right, let's give it a whirl. So this is, I think like 5/16 inch or something like that. All right, first one's done. Let's cut another one. Okay, so I got the piece fitted up. I beveled both edge sides down here. I beveled this side so that I get better penetration as I'm welding to this reinforcement. And then I beveled the other side because there's a little bit of a radius from the weld previously. So my plan is I'm going to weld up here. I'm going to weld along the back. I'm going to weld along here. Initially, I'm just going to tack it in place and then go from there. Well, I'm much happier with these welds than my previous welds. I won't say they're perfect, but they're definitely a lot better. I'll tack it and then I'll start welding. I'm certainly a lot happier with these welds than I was in my previous ones, and this was even with having to work around the camera. So not perfect, but good enough for me. So kind of what I was thinking is I started on this side because this was, I think, one of the easier welds to do. And that would help warm everything up so that when I got into these bigger welds, it would all be ready and kind of preheated, especially down in here where I had to have that bevel there. I wanted to make sure I had it pretty warm so I get some good penetration. That was kind of my thought process there. I don't know if it's right or not, but that's kind of what I was thinking. The other thing I'm wondering if people's going to question me on, going down versus going up. I think if you go up, you start getting the heat kind of transferring upwards, because heat rises. I just went down because it's more comfortable for me. So I don't know if we're right or wrong. Somebody can tell me if you let me know in the comment section below. Now let's go look at the other side. Here's the close-up of the other side. I am pretty happy with these welds. Definitely was questioning myself and my welding capabilities the first welds I did, but again, it's been probably almost a year since I last welded, so I guess I still got it in me. But this should be good. for a while. Hopefully these improvements here will give me, many more long productive years out of this bucket. I have some other maintenance that I need to do to it. I mean, the whole bucket is, we scoop manure with it. So, yeah, won't say it has had an easy life, but what I really need to do is go in and clean this out and probably clean off any rust and then like paint it. I'll probably use like POR 15 or whatever on the inside in the summertime, just so that the bucket lasts as long as it can. The blade and all that stuff of it here is actually still in pretty good shape, it seems like. Yeah, this is the only part that seemed to be kind of wearing out. So, well, so that was that. Yeah, it's been a while since I welded. Obviously, I was pretty terrible there at first. Hopefully that fixes the issue, and I don't really have that in the future. In the summertime, when it gets a little bit warmer, I'm gonna go through and paint the bucket again. Hopefully, clean that all up so that way those will stay. Those won't rust too badly. And again, if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you kind of like this random content that I provide. All right, thanks again, and hopefully you guys have a good 2021.